we are going to have a conversation with Mr. Marian Tupy, co-author of the book Superabundance, in our event, República Mujer. Mr. Tupy, your book argues that abundance grows faster than population. Why do inequality narratives still dominate global discourse?
I think partly because we have evolved to be zero-sum thinkers. When our species was very young, in order to feed yourself, in order to prosper, you probably had to take it from somebody else. But that's not how it works in a modern economy. In a modern economy, we can grow the pie much bigger than before.
Mm-hmm. Many critics say that Superabundance, the book, ignores ecological limits. What have you to say about this? And do you think that this is a misunderstanding or a refusal to believe in human ingenuity?
Absolutely. The socialist record of taking care of the environment is much poorer than the capitalist record. Socialists left behind economic and ecological devastation. Today, if you look at the ecological or environmental performance of the richest countries, they tend to have the best environment, and the poorest countries have the worst environment. Let me give you one example in which humanity can protect the environment. Instead of catching fish in the wild, we can embrace aquaculture. We can grow fish on farms for human consumption and therefore let the wild animals by themselves.
As an expert, what would you recommend? What would you tell a young couple thinking about, shall we have kids or not? What do you think about cultural pessimism?
Well, cultural pessimism is contagious, and it is driven, in my view, primarily by hyper competition within the media environment. TV has to compete against radio has to compete against the internet, and so on and so forth. And to get clicks, to get people to actually read what you are publishing, you have to try to present it in the most dramatic terms. I think that if people are concerned about having babies because they think the world is coming to an end because of lack of resources or climate change, my attitude to is no, you can still have children. The environment is actually in many ways improving. We are better stewards of our environment than our ancestors were. Our ancestors slaughtered animals on a very large scale and drove them to extinction. Today, we protect our nature much more so than people before.
We have been talking about your book. You know this. I reviewed the book. Would you say that the book applies to Europe and to the United States, or could it also apply to Latin America and other parts of the world?
Certainly, I think it applies to Latin America and other parts of the world, meaning that there is no such thing as a hopeless country. When you looked at the devastation that the communists left in Eastern Europe after the Berlin Wall came down, who would have thought that Poland today would be a country that is almost catching up with the United Kingdom in terms of GDP per capita? Look how Hong Kong went from a sleepy, empty fishing village in the 1950s to the world's greatest trading center and one of the richest places in the world. So, of course, Latin America can prosper beyond where it is today. It just has to have the right political and economic institutions and the right cultural outlook.
Mm-hmm. Here in Guatemala, you know that we have on average, we have a very young population. I think it's 26 or 27 years old. But still, the population growth is slightly declining. How do you see the future of Guatemala?
Well, provided that Guatemala can stay an open economy and perhaps become even more open economy, an open economy can import a lot of technologies that make it much more productive and therefore more prosperous. That's where you want to be. You want to be an open economy. You want to try to get as efficient as you possibly can be and eliminate as many monopoly rents as possible. And you want to make sure that people have the social mobility to basically get a job, and prosper in that job. So I would say economic openness is very important.
Mm-hmm. Just to finish our conversation, I would like to know your opinion about this event. What do you think about the fact that República is organizing this sort of event, and do you think it's useful?
I think it is very useful because I think that for a very long time, the dominant cultural current has been anti-family, anti-natality, or anti-childbirth, and so forth. And so I think that pushing back and showing that other way is possible. In other words, just even presenting just the opposite point of view is actually very important and very useful.
Is there a final message you would like to give our audience?
I would say that look at the tremendous success of countries which were once poor. Look at Chile. Look at South Korea. Look at Taiwan, Hong Kong, Poland. These were once very poor countries. They became very wealthy. There is nothing objective in the universe that keeps Guatemala in its developing status, which it currently is. Guatemala can become rich just as any other country can, provided, once again, that you stay an open economy, that you participate in the global economy, provided that you have the right economic and political institutions to make sure that ordinary people in Guatemala can succeed.
Mr. Tupy, on this positive note, I would like to thank you very much for this conversation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.